So picture this, it's the 60s, and the Beatles are at the height of their legendary status in music. But did you know that their first experience with marijuana was actually a hilarious misunderstanding? They were staying at a hotel, where they met the iconic Bob Dylan. Now both parties were cultural icons of the time, so you can imagine the significance of this encounter. After performing at the Forest Hills Tennis Stadium, located in Queens, New York, the Fab Four were introduced to Dylan by Al Aronowitz, whom was a journalist friend of the group. Now in a humorous excerpt taken from The Love You Make, an Insider's Story of the Beatles by Peter Brown and Stephen Gaines, we learn of the surely awkward moment for the Beatles, where Bob Dylan had misheard their lyrics to "I Want to Hold Your Hand" and made a rather off-base assumption. Quote, Brian Epstein and the Beatles looked at each other apprehensively. "We've never smoked marijuana before," Brian finally admitted. Dylan looked disbelievingly from face to face. Brian Epstein managed the Beatles for those that do not recognize the name. "But what about your song?" he asked. "The one about getting high?" The Beatles were stupefied. "Which song?" John Lennon managed to ask. Dylan said, "You know," and then he sang, "And when I touch you, I get high, I get high." John flushed with embarrassment. "Those aren't the words," he admitted. "The words are, I can't hide, I can't hide, I can't hide." Right or wrong lyrics? It made no difference at that point. Starting with Ringo, they all joined Dylan in a back room sealed off from the 20 police officers protecting them from thousands of fans outside. Upon taking a few puffs of the left-handed cigarette and not getting an instant reaction as many expect, they continued to smoke the skunky substance until the giggling started to set in. Ringo claims the ceiling was moving while Paul began to chase George through the hotel. Realizing the fun they were having, it soon became a regular part of their repertoire. Paul McCartney eventually revealing their song "Got to Get You Into My Life" was in, quote, an ode to pot. Also sharing with George Martin that their Sgt. Pepper album was a drug album, being heavily influenced by their new leafy friend. That concludes today's story, and I must thank you for watching. I hope you have thoroughly enjoyed this smoky bit of rock and roll history. I have great plans for this channel and would love to include you all in on the fun. So please click that subscribe button. It costs you nothing and provides me with just the boost I need.